very much. Good morning, everyone, on a nice, cold Indiana day, not to be confused with yesterday. That was a pretty nice, mild Indiana day. Proud to be here. As you know, over the last several months, we've been discussing the various things that we need to do in order to try to enhance the workforce. Everyone in this room that has anything to do with the hiring of folks or the maintaining of employees in your business, which is nearly everyone, understands the difficulty that we have, not just here in our community, but really across the country and in some ways across the world. As I traveled most recently over to Japan and spoke to the folks there, as I've traveled in the past, spoken to the folks in Italy, they'll all tell you the same thing, that we look hard for good workers and we have a hard time finding good workers. And it's not necessarily always that the folks, once they get employed and they've been there for a while, aren't trainable and can't do the job, but oftentimes the folks, when they walk in the door for the first time, it's all new and unique to them, because we all know that today's work world that we live in, and particularly when we talk about advanced manufacturing, is just different than it used to be. And so we thought to ourselves, what can we do to try to bring to the table folks in our community and in the area, in the region, that will be able to be good prospective employers for you, and who will be someone who, if you hire them, will stick it out and do a good job and make your company productive, while at the same time giving themselves an opportunity to have a good, well-paying, meaningful job. And so we began to look at different models, and one of the models that we looked at, and you heard from these folks, I think the time before last that we were here, were the good folks at Connexus in association with Subaru. And today Steve Shelby is here. And Steve, where are you? Steve, stand up. Say hi again to Steve. Steve and his company created what is referred to in Lafayette as Lafayette RAMP, which again was a program that was created to identify individuals that would fit into the workforce, and then to help train them through a training program that when they do go to work, that they would actually stick it out. Because all of you know that when you hire folks and you work with them for a short period of time and it's just not working and you have to let them go, that's lost resources for you. You've lost money, you've lost time, and you still don't have the employee that you need to fill the needs that you have. With Connexus, they were able to reduce turnover by some 60%. And so we're looking forward down the road to being able to work with Connexus as well, to continuation of this program and expansion of the program. But we looked at this in the middle of last year and began looking at ideas that the city could do to help advance these causes. And we've got with the good folks here at Purdue Polytechnic, and I want to thank Corey again for making this great building available to us, this meeting place that we've used before. It's obviously a great model of what can happen with partnerships, and we appreciate the ongoing partnership that we have with Purdue. As Greg said, the program that we're going to, and if you've had this handout, I'm not going to read it all to you, you obviously can read, but the program, again, it will launch on March 1st. We're already obviously underway in the recruiting process, and also working closely with our partners. And again, I want to acknowledge those. Presently, we have NTK, NTN, Surmax, and Red Gold as employers that are willing to work with us in this program. It is not a closed program. It is open to everyone, and we want to remind everyone here today, especially after you hear what you hear today, and if it sounds something of interest to you, please get a hold of the folks and let them know. You're going to be hearing later from Mark Slayton, and I think maybe Vince Smith, if not Vince is here, will be, who's with JobSource, and letting them know, or getting back with Greg, that you'd be interested in being part of this as well, that you're all welcome to participate. Also, of course, the folks at Flagship, and then obviously JobSource, and again, of course, Purdue, and this along with the City of Anderson. The City of Anderson, we have committed this first year that we're involved in this, $120,000 that we'll be putting into the program, primarily for the use of the finances that are needed to be able to pay these individuals that are involved. Because this program, as you can see by the handout, is a 4-week intensive program of 160 hours a week. The folks that are chosen will be paid while they're doing this training. They'll be paid up to a $1,600 figure. It's going to be pretty much a no tolerance program. So we're going to work hard to screen the folks. We have met again with the folks that are our partners, and they've let us know what it is that they're looking for. They're letting us know what they find is the issues, what they would love to see if they could find this in employees, and we're incorporating that into the program in such a way as to make sure that these folks, when they go through this program, that they're aware already before they actually step their foot into the door of what it is that the employers are looking for. If during this training process, for example, if someone fails to show up, then they're out of the program. If they can't commit 4 weeks of their time to be able to get this exceptional training that they're getting paid for, then they're probably not the employee that you want. So hopefully that the folks that we select, using the criteria that's been formulated, not just internally with Purdue, but also with these employers, will help make this a successful program, not only for the participants, but also eventually for the employees. As we kick this off on April 1st, as you'll note on the paper, we'll be seeking 30 applicants for this first go-around, but we have a very aggressive goal. Our goal is to be able to put ourselves in a position to put through these programs several hundred people a year in order to make sure that we have the employees that employers need that are currently existing here today, and the employers that we look forward to bringing into the community here in the future. Again, we have worked closely with our partners, and if you choose to become a partner yourself, we'll listen to your concerns and needs and make sure that we incorporate and integrate into the program the individuals that, or the criteria that you think would be important for your program. So again, let's sit back and listen to a little bit more detail about the curriculum. I think you're going to find it interesting, and again, if you have thoughts later, please let us know. But remember, the entire goal is to make sure that we can put together that skilled workforce, because I've mentioned it before. When I talk to new employers, and several of you in the room once upon a time were new employers that I had a chance to initially meet at that point in time, everyone has the same real concerns, and that is, do you have the workforce for us? And this area, Anderson and Madison County area, has always been known for its innovation. We obviously are setting on a spot that created tons and tons of innovation over the years that were put into the automobiles and the automobile industry and products that was all over the world. And we haven't lost those possibilities. And so we're looking forward to developing that in a stronger sense under this new economy, and to make Anderson again the great community of success and innovation that it has always been. So at this time, I'm going to turn this back over to Greg Winkler with our Economic Development Department, and he can fill you in a little bit more and do some more introductions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mayor Broderick mentioned, the secret here is making sure that the standards of this program for both selection and training are the same standards that you have as employers. And to talk a little bit about that, I'm going to ask Mark Slayton to come up and walk through some of the standards that are going to be in place for the application process and for the overall training process. Mark?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mayor. Part of the selection process, I'm going to go lightly across the process. As we are engaging with potential candidates, they are going to encounter a minimum of 3 interviews. We have developed with our employer partners some very elementary math quizzes. They go through that. They will go through work keys, and that was with our job source partners. Then we will give them a pre-course drug screen. They will engage into the 4-week program. At some point near the end, we are going to give a random, unannounced drug screen to make sure the candidates are prepared once they walk out of our door. We're already engaged in a very serious marketing campaign out in the community, and already candidates are being referred to us by several agencies across the board in our community. Most of the CBOs are on board, our community-based organizations, and if you have any additional questions or suggestions for our selection process that involves some of our employer partners, Vince Smith, who could not be here this morning, or myself, you have our information, and please feel free to reach out. And that's our just a brief overview of the selection process. Thank you.
Mark. So, to reiterate, the selection process is going to be stringent, and the application of those standards are going to be consistent throughout the program. So if you do show up late and you haven't called in, you're going to get written up. If you show up late twice and you haven't called in, you're gone. You're going to be expected to dress appropriately, and we'll work with people in that application process so that they understand that. They're going to be expected to dress appropriately, communicate appropriately, put the cell phone away, focus and engage in the process of learning. And if you can't do that, you're going to get a warning, and after that warning, you're going to be dismissed from the program. So if we start this program April the 1st with 30 candidates, and we end up at the end of April with 15, those are going to be 15 work-ready candidates. And we'll work with the other 15 on another program. So just to reiterate, we've listened to you. Your standards are going to be our standards for selection and throughout the process. Now to talk a little bit about the curriculum, I'm going to ask Corey to come up and walk through this industry-centric curriculum that Purdue has developed with NTN and NTK and Cervax and Red Bull. Corey?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mayor. And also want to thank Flagship and their contribution as well. In your handout, you'll have kind of an outline of what the curriculum is going to look like. It's a 4-week experience for the individuals that are going through. And you'll see through this, they're going to have key components of learning about modern manufacturing with concepts in lean, 5S, those kinds of things. And we have one of the things that really propelled this curriculum are really 2 things. One is our relationship with Purdue Lafayette, Connexus, and how they've been instrumental in helping us develop this in partnership with our local employers, but also that we have a lean manufacturing simulator, which is only available to about 4 or 5 places in the United States. And so we'll be using that lean simulator to help with lean concepts, manufacturing concepts. We're also going to be looking at work conditioning, making sure that individuals can actually physically do the work. And so we're actually working on building some additional trainers to make sure that work conditioning is in place so they can stand and work in a manufacturing environment for at least an 8-hour shift. So that work conditioning is a key component of what we want to focus on. Also, we've looked at some specific needs that are here in Anderson and Madison County around gauging, GD&T, and some other concepts that individuals need to have that we're going to use some specific Purdue resources and Purdue faculty to help with those things. But also this curriculum is going to look at working with the individual, not just on the technical skills, but on the soft skills, on conflict resolution, team building, effective listening. Those kinds of things are really important to start minimizing friction and disagreements in the workplace. So that's a key component of it. The other areas dealing with lean are standard work and understanding basic standard work processes. And the beauty of this is that they're also going to be exposed to some of the employers' standard work processes and environment as well. And I want to thank, I see some folks in the room here, Mary Blake and Mary Condon, if you could stand up. Tyrone, if you could stand up as well. I know Tim Ingles here too. They've actually been involved with the actual development of this curriculum. So I can't thank them enough for telling us what we need to be focusing on. And each of these companies, Ceramax as well, are going to be providing employees to help teach some of this curriculum. So it's really kind of a hand-in-glove relationship between the employers teaching some of these concepts. Some of these concepts are going to be taught by a Purdue faculty member, and then some of these concepts are going to be taught by Steve Ann Sweeney, who owns the Lean Simulator, who was a training engineer for Toyota for about 30 years. Thank you for standing, I appreciate it. And they're going to be on hand every day for this experience to work with individuals. So the ultimate end of this curriculum is going to be a graduation process where these individuals can sit in on a job fair with some of the different companies that are participating and have an opportunity to work. So it's, again, based upon the Lafayette RAMP program, which is now working with Connexus to expand this statewide. And that's ultimately our hope, is to be a part of that statewide initiative where manufacturers, the community come together to have a better trained workforce. So again, this just kind of gives you a quick overview of that curriculum. I have a much more detailed kind of week, day by day experience that I can share with you if you're interested. So if there are any questions about the curriculum, especially since Mary, Tyrone, Tim, myself, Lorenzo's here to maybe talk about the curriculum. I think there might be some questions about that. So as the mayor said, it's going to be an open process, but again, they have to do some basic math tests and quizzes, and if they can't pass those, then they're probably not going to be successful in the program. So, and they have to also pass the drug screen and those kinds of things. So I think the main thing is just finding those individuals that are ready and willing to participate in this program and work in manufacturing. The initial pilot that we have funding for is for 3 months. So, and we want to use this as a feedback loop. It's continuous improvement. If we're going to teach continuous improvement, we have to practice it. And so the 3 month is to learn what we're doing well, where we're struggling, where we need to make improvements. And so this first 3 months is where we're going to, learn how to sink or swim and how we can do better. But we have great partners. Like I said, we have a good model that's been successful in Lafayette that we're going to use that as our kind of guidepost. It's open to the community. I mean, that's what we really want to do, is reach it out to the community. There's a lot of individuals who could benefit from employment from one of our manufacturers. And I mean, one of the goals is to not only prepare them to work in that kind of environment, but also show that manufacturing, as the mayor talked about, it looks different than it did when General Motors was here. And that it does take a different kind of skill set, a different mindset to work in manufacturing than it did 20 or 30 years ago. So the more we can get from the community and individuals that are, and again, if we get a kid out of high school, that's great. But we really want to target anybody that wants to find a better life. And the ultimate goal is to create opportunities for wealth for these individuals, where they're, instead of dealing with insecurity and things like that, maybe we can find them long-term employment with one of our manufacturers, and that's the goal. We want to grow the program, and so we need your support. Whether it's in referring individuals to this program or engaging with us in the curriculum development to continually improve it, because as Greg mentioned, it has to be industry driven. I will mention to you, there was a similar program like this adjacent to Madison County that did not work. It didn't work for a variety of reasons, but talking with some of the employers over in this other county, they indicated to me the reason why it didn't work was they weren't engaged enough. And so it's definitely going to be, if this will be successful, and it'll be successful because of that hand-in-glove relationship between the manufacturers, the community, and educators to get folks ready to work in manufacturing, because it's hard to do it all on our own and by ourselves. So working as a team is a much better approach. So again, the program starts April 1st, and I think what we'll do is have a manufacturing roundtable after those first 3 months. But I would also encourage the manufacturers and other community folks to come in and schedule a time and take a look and observe, because the feedback is what we need. And if it's not good feedback, we need to know that. If it's good feedback, we need that as well. So when the program is up and running, share with us what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, or strategies on how to grow the program. Maybe you found an avenue for us to recruit more individuals that we didn't consider the first time. Let's go after that and make it better.
I want to thank Lori for being willing to put his faculty and staff in the middle of this. That's very courageous on his part. Lori and others have put tens and probably hundreds of hours in developing this curriculum. I want to thank all of our partner companies, from Cermax to NTN to NTK to Red Gold. Thank you guys so much for your willingness to put your time in. Flagship, thank you for donating money and time and space and working with us on the Lean Simulator. And Mayor, thank you for your courage in funding this program. There may be other cities that are funding programs like this I'm just not aware of. We're really excited about the opportunity to be a partner with Connexus and Catapult moving forward. So Steve and Sarah, thank you for being here this morning. We're looking forward to that and growing this program so that it serves all of you.